There's a huge amount on the line in this play. The stakes are incredibly high. If Catherine doesn't tell the version of the story that Mrs. Venable wants to hear, then she's going to be subjected to a preliminary form of lobotomy. And I think the extremity of that situation reflects to us Williams's belief that such are the lengths that people will go to in order to prevent uncomfortable truths from being brought out into the public. I discovered Tennessee Williams when I was about 15. We were studying Streetcar Named Desire in year 10. And one of the earliest things I remember about Tennessee Williams as a writer was that he was the writer who taught me what dramatic irony was. So there's this incredible moment in Streetcar where Blanche comes in onto the stage when she's alone in the apartment and has a drink. Stella arrives and offers her a drink, and she has another drink, and then Stella offers her another drink, and she says, no, I only drink one. And the audience knows that she's already had 2 drinks. And that moment has always stuck with me in his writing. And I think it encapsulates a quality of his writing which is something that he does almost better than anybody else, in that he's a master poet of writing stage action. I mean, his mastery of language is extraordinary, but his capacity to generate dramatic action on stage is almost unparalleled. I mean, I think the other thing to say about his writing is that it's deeply personal, and you have a very personal response to it when you encounter it. So it's very personal to him. All of his stories come essentially are lifted from his life. And so the characters that he creates are very vivid, are very real, and very specific. And rather than you feeling like they're characters that are specific to somebody else, they feel very specific to you. And I think, if truth be told about one of my great fascinations with Tennessee Williams, he is a master of opening up access into examining the space between what we present to people around us and what's truthfully inside us. And I think that space always fascinates me in my work. I'm always interested in the way in which people are performing in life and why it is they wish to conceal a part of themselves from other people. And often that experience for a character is driven by a sense of shame for a part of themselves, that they're afraid other people won't accept. And that for me is the heart of tragedy in life. And as a writer, Tennessee Williams is a master at allowing us to see that within a character. I think the essential experience of the audience in any production of Suddenly Last Summer is an experience of burrowing towards truth. And the cameras are a theatrical tool that aid the audience in this experience. They help take us closer to these actors, to these characters. They take us at times inside their minds through extreme close-ups. At times they reveal to us when they're performing or when they're lying to us. And at times they deceive us from gaining truth by taking us into the more surreal or heightened or nightmarish quality of this play. And I think at the end of the play there are many questions hanging over the audience's head about what exactly is the truth. And through the use of the camera, the audience will both be aided and abetted in that journey towards understanding the truth of what's happened to Sebastian Venable. In many ways, I find Tennessee Williams to be a theatrical renegade of his period, and that was largely born of a relentless formal inventiveness in his writing. You know, he wanted to incorporate live music. He's very specific about quite radical and expressive ways in which lights get used in his productions. And part of the drive towards using live video in this production of Suddenly Last Summer has been feeding off this impulse within the writing to reach for other art forms in order to extend and heighten the reality that he's trying to create. And there's a particular moment towards the end of the play, in the latter third of the play, where the character Catherine tells a very long story about what's happened to Sebastian Venable. And Tennessee Williams describes a spotlight focusing on her face and the lights receding on all the other characters as they drift into the penumbra. And the way that we're exploring that moment is through extreme close-up. And we journey further and further into her story, we go closer and closer into her face. And so part of the way in which the live video is working is in response to the way in which Tennessee Williams is reaching for different art forms to realise this dreamscape that he's creating.